because ghusl is wajib. Ghusl obviously is wajib. So it's my own understanding. But if some of the Maulanas or Muftis will give us some reference saying that is not wajib, I will accept it if it's from authentic books. Or otherwise, my own understanding that you have to remove. One small detail that I forgot to mention: after performing ghusl, before using the towel, you have to put the dead body on your shoulder, okay, and then slightly wipe on the tummy. If there is something to release, water or number 2, etc., so he will do it. It will just leave his body. And after that, you do not repeat giving ghusl to the whole body, but only that area. If it is urine, so that's it. Or if it is the other thing, so the other place. That's it. Okay? And after that, you just apply whatever I did mention. So that is, in general, how to perform ghusl. And after making kafan, now again another prohibition. In Hanafi madhab, it is not permissible to delay janaza namaz after ghusl. So straight away you have to take the person to the janaza. And janaza, as we say, is fard ala al-kifaya. Okay? Yes?
With women,
yeah,
if it is their monthly cycle,
yeah,
is there anything that needs to be done different or anything, or
no,
is everything just the same?
Only to make sure that the blood is removed properly. Because normally, if when we apply the same procedure as we did for men, only letting the water to go, so the blood will get spread. So they have to make sure that blood is removed first. After that, doing whatever we say. Thank you. Jazakumullah khairan, Sayyidi. Okay, anyway, there is another detail also. When we take the person to the janaza, after praying janaza, obviously janaza is, there is only 2 rukns in janaza. Okay, one rukn that you have to be standing, and the second rukn is 4 takbirat. And the rest of the things is just sunnah. For example, praying sana, for example, the Durood Sharif, or anything, all of them is sunnah. Even if you do not do it, namaz is still valid. So, after performing janaza, actually, we do lift the coffin, okay, and in Hanafi madhab, it is recommended to be lifted from 4 sides, but in Shafi'i from 2 sides. So it is 2 men will be holding from both sides. Okay, but in Hanafi, 1 from 1 side. So it is 4 people will be holding the janaza. So after taking the person to the graveyard, obviously in Hanafi madhab we say it's recommended for you to walk behind the janaza. But in Shafi'i they say you should be walking in front of the janaza. That is more recommended. So that's why if we see some people walking in front or behind, we say it's just it's not that big issue. Okay. And when we take the janaza to the graveyard, it's not permissible for us to sit down before they will place the coffin on the ground. Okay, they will place the coffin on the ground, and if it was the janaza of the lady, so it is permissible to use fabric. They just put white fabric on top of the grave. So then when they will be placing the body in the grave, so because there is high risk of being uncovered, so she will be protected from that. Okay, so because fabric is there. Okay, and only the relatives, mahram relatives, will go into the grave. Son, brother, okay, but not the husband. In Hanafi, his husband cannot go there. And also after that, in terms of placing into the grave, so is recommended for you to, the depth of the cover to be up to the chest, but not very deep, because when they will give you the body, so you have to be standing strong enough to hold it properly. But if grave will be too deep, so you will be unable to grab the body properly, and then it falls on you, and you fall down also. Okay, so maybe up to the chest, that's the best ever measurement. Okay, and as you know, there are 2 types of graves. One is lahad and one is shaq. Okay, lahad is L. Okay, so so this is the, you can say, Iwan of the qabr of the grave, and the proper grave where you will be placing the person, so it will go towards that side. Okay, on that side. Okay, so then after putting the person inside of the grave, so make sure that you place the person on his right side, so facing the Qibla. Okay, but the most common practice in our time, they place the body on his back, so he will be laying on his back, and then they just turn his face. Okay, but the proper sunnah way is to make him to be laying on his right side. Okay, so as I said, because in our time most of the people they die laying on their back, so that's very difficult to make sure that he does not fall off. So that's why inside of the lahad, make sure that you make hole, okay, long one. So when you put the person inside of the grave, so he falls into that hole, just falls in. Okay, so then he will be just standing like that. Okay. Yeah.
Sheikh, I just want to find out the ladies who said that mahrams should, put the women in the grave and the husband should not do it. But what if in a condition like somebody who hasn't got a mahram there?
Yeah.
At that time, what we are supposed to do?
Okay, mashallah, it's good.
Circumstances.
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah.
If
So
there are women here in this country who have got their family not in some other countries,
yeah,
and that can happen any time. So
We-
what are we supposed to do at that time?
we just put them inside of the coffin and we bury them inside of the coffin actually.
Yeah, but who's allowed to
Who's going to catch the body?
hold
No,
the
that's what
people
I'm
in the
trying to
grave?
say. Do you know coffin? I don't mean the coffin. Do you know coffin? Coffin.
Oh,
We bury them inside of the
In the
coffin.
box.
Box, in the
so
box.
you can't take them out of the box. You have to put the...
Yeah, because there is no any mahram in there who can touch.
Okay.
Yeah, so we bury them inside of the coffin, but it's recommended to make the coffin as a grave. So it will not be like a silk and fabrics on the sides and behind, but it will be like wood, but on top of wood, soil. We make the grave to like a coffin to be lahad,
Okay.
and then we place it inside.
So then the husbands can do that?
Of course, anyone can do it.
Husband,
Anyone.
They can put it in.
Anyone can do it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so first is lahad, and the second is shiq. Shiq is, it will come like this, and then goes tighter, and then hold. Okay? The proper sunnah way is lahad, unless if there is some excuse. For example, the soil is too soft. When you make lahad, it falls down. So then we do that shiq. Yeah.
So why is the husband not allowed?
Sorry?
Why is the husband not allowed?
Because straight after the death, marriage just nullified. The proof for that is after the death of the wife, husband can go to marry again, same day. But wife cannot. So wife can give ghusl to husband, but husband cannot give a ghusl. Because after the death of a wife, husband doesn't keep waiting period, am I right? But after the death of husband, lady keeps waiting period, so that waiting period will prove that they're still connected to each other. Okay, means lady can give a ghusl as well as there is still relationship is still there. In Hanafi only, but in Shafi'i it's permissible. Yeah.
And once you've done the ghusl, you said you should perform the the janaza immediately. How about when they take the body abroad?
Yeah, so we say within Hanafi madhab, the most reliable opinion, the further you can take is within 5 miles from the place where he died.
What they take them maybe like 5,000 miles.
No, as long as you have got that 5, that's fine. No, that's makruh saying. It's makruh.
Even if it's their own wish,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
put
it's
in
not-
their will.
It's not permissible to fulfill that will, yeah. So as a maximum 5 miles.
And even if the land they're in at the moment is non-Muslim land, they want to go to, I mean, just for example, let's
Yeah,
say,
yeah, no,
that's,
it doesn't matter.
doesn't
Because
make a difference.
if you remember, there is some hadith which is weak actually, but it has been backed up by many other hadith. There is hadith in which Rasulullah says that there are angels who are responsible to bring the bodies of Muslims from far away to bury them inside of Baqiyah. And there are other angels who are responsible to take away the bodies of the hypocrites from Baqiyah to bury them away. Hadith is weak, but if you remember, there are hadith in which Rasulullah ﷺ says that in Yawm al-Qiyamah, when it will be blown into the horn, I will get up as a first, not resurrected. Rasulullah didn't say I will be resurrected because he's alive, but he says I will get up from the grave first, and then Abu Bakr and Umar from my right and left side, and Abu Musa from underneath of my feet. But Abu Musa died in Syria, and in another narration we have two graves of Abu Musa Ash'ari, am I right? One is in Jordan, one is in Syria. So how come that he will be resurrected from underneath of the feet of the Prophet? That what hadith explains it. So it's not important where you are buried, where you are died, but it's more important how, in which status you died. Okay, yeah.
Well, another question which came to my mind, when you're taking the body into the lahad, sometimes people have like some tabarruk or certain maybe pieces of...
Yeah, mashallah, excellent question. It's in terms of in Hanafi madhab as well as Shafi, I'm confident about them two madhab. It's prohibited to write, for example, Ayatul Kursi or Kalimat Shahada or name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then to put it inside of the kafan. Okay, why? Because
prohibited as in it's haram. You can...
it's a very strong thing actually, yeah, haram, or it could be even more. Because in Maturidi Aqidah we say, I know that this is the place of a najasa, filth. And then I leave Quran or name of God in there knowingly that people will throw rubbish here. So in our madhab we say that constitutes kufr. Because it's humiliating Quran or humiliating ayah or humiliating name of God. And everyone, each single person knows that grave is a place of filth. Person will get decomposed. Pulses, okay, and blood. That is filthy. Okay, so, and we have been ordered to keep Quran and name of God pure, like not filthy, etc. Okay, so it's very, very dangerous statement. But in Hanafi madhab, it's permissible to write with your finger. So it will be spiritual, something. So it is la ilaha illallah on the chest or on forehead. So it will not be visible, but it will be written actually. So filth does not touch it.
Sheikh, you see in some janazas,
Yeah.
they have this sort of a green band which has the kalima shahada
Yeah.
or some of the dhikr on it, and they'll place that over the lifafa, so it will never actually touch the body.
No, because when body will get decomposed, you know that blood, you know, because fabric normally soaks in the blood, you know. Yeah, so we have to be very careful about this issue.
Is there anything that we can leave with the dead body that might help them or might benefit
No,
them?
dua is the best. As well as there is some weak hadith which is accepted by four madhahib. After burying, inshallah I'm going to explain, just to stand on top of the grave, just next to the grave, and shouting the name of the person and his mother's name, saying, don't forget that you used to live saying La ilaha illallah. Rasulullah said, then Munkar wa Nakir will come saying, what do you want to do with the person who has got his proof? And then they will leave him without asking any questions. Hadith is weak but accepted by four madhahib. Yes, so it is sunnah to do it, yes, mustahab. Yes, Sayyidina. Alaykum salam.
What about when people cover the grave or decorate it with flowers? Is that allowed?
With the flower, yeah, fine, grass it in. But not in Hanafi madhab we say when you put the like on top of the grave, so you shouldn't decorate it. But the maximum thing that you can do is just maybe one like
Name shield.
yeah, shield, just to put a name, just to write the name, so you can recognize. As well as, do you know that when you put the grave, it shouldn't be higher than one arm as a maximum. The best size is one hand spine, higher, okay, that much. So even when you put that soil on top, so it shouldn't be that it shouldn't be more than one arm. So if it will be more than one arm, so it is prohibited. There is some prohibition. Yeah.
What about some people say you can grow a tree there or something like that?
We do not plant a tree, but we do not remove a tree and grasses which is on top of the grave, unless if it is dry, then we can remove it. But specifically planting, we do not allow that, because dead body has respect. Okay, so we have to show respect to the dead body. Alaykum salam.
Is it one forearm or one arm?
One arm. One arm.
Forearm. That's the forearm.
Yeah, it's this much. This much, yeah.
Arm is this much.
From
No,
your
I
elbow
mean
to your
this
face.
much. Okay, this much. From here to there.
Jais or not jais?
Which one?
Taweez.
No, because they say, normally some of the Maulanas gave fatwa saying it's permissible because even if body will get decomposed, so plastic will keep it away. But we say plastic doesn't stay forever, you know, because insects will eat nearly everything. So it's better to not do. The best ever thing is, for example, to make dua, etc. As well as just, there is another thing, we disagree obviously, we Hanafis disagree, Hanbalis do it. Hanbalis say it is recommended for the dead person to do some type of mawlid or some type of like feeding people food, etc. for the next 7 days. It is narrated from Tawus bin Kaysan al-Yamani, Tabi, you know, the student of Ibn Abbas. He says that after the burial, for the next 7 days, body will be questioned. Do you know the question of Munkar and Nakir? Tawus bin Kaysan, rahimahullah, Tabi, says that questioning will go for 7 days. So it is recommended for the people, owners of the dead person, to do something on behalf of him. Feeding people, okay, reading Quran, so some good things. It is in Hanbali, okay? But in Hanafis, we say it's not permissible to do mourning for more than 3 days. But Hanbali say it is mustahab to do that feeding, etc. for the next 7 days. Okay? So it is a small thing. Yeah, yes,
Something is coming to my mind. I can't remember it exactly, but maybe it was a Sahabi. He had the hair of the Prophet ﷺ.
Anas ibn Malik, yes.
And he said,
many other Sahabin said all that, yeah, correct.
and he said, if you bury me, and they were buried with
Of course, yeah. So because
what's
it's
the understanding of that?
no, because first of all, it is tabarruk by the Athar of Rasulullah. That's 100% by ijma. It is permissible. Okay, and the second thing that we say, the thing which may cause a prohibition is Quran or name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so it is, that's the main thing. Okay, but in terms of what about the parts of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, isn't it the same level as, for example, respect of Quran? Obviously it's 100%, okay, but we say most likely because it is something that Sahabi is doing, so most likely he has got some permission from Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. But if it would be with us, most likely we wouldn't give permission. So let's suppose that someone has, for example, the Imam of Rasulullah alayhi salam. Okay, so for example, there are some hadiths say that Imam Mahdi will be wearing the Imam of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and after him, if someone will ask him to be buried with Imam of the Prophet, we may not allow him. We Hanafis may not allow him because it's something related to the Prophet, and like blood is disliked actually. There is something strange in that. Yes, I did that.
Two questions, please.
Yeah.
Number one is regarding the Janaza prayer.
Yeah.
What is the ruling on the number of rows? Why does it have to be odd?
Okay.
The second question is with regards to the raising of the graves. Nowadays, you've seen a lot of incidents around the world where people are going and demolishing graves because they're raised. Could you please touch a bit on that if it's relevant?
Okay, now first of all, in terms of a janazah, the proper way of praying janazah is Imam should be just standing right in front of the chest. Okay, so the chest, and it doesn't matter if it is male or female, because there is another opinion, weak opinion says, if it is a male, so then Imam should be standing next to the belly button, and if it is female, so then next to the chest. We say in both of the scenarios, Imam should be standing next to the chest. Okay, as well as in terms of the number of the in terms of the order of the janazah, praying janazah, it will be exactly on the same order as we do pray the normal janazah. Okay, but we say in normal namaz it is more rewarded to pray in the first lane, but in janazah it is more rewarded to be in the last, okay, towards the end. Okay, so that's why we say if it is 5 people, so we try to do 5 lanes in janazah. Okay, because that's how to get like a bigger reward. But in terms of what's happening now, it's very painful thing, you know, in terms of like destroying the graves. And you know, one thing, I would just emphasize on one thing. Brothers, for some reason, they somehow they have some strange understanding that Muslims worship dead people. I mean, till now, I haven't seen a single Muslim worships dead people. Also, keep in your mind, Rasulullah ﷺ did mention for many occasions, saying, I am satisfied now. And Shaitan actually lost his hope to make my nation to commit shirk. Okay? Rasulullah ﷺ mentioning in different ahadith saying, I'm confident that my ummah will not commit a shirk, but I'm not afraid for shirk, but I'm afraid more for dunya. Do you remember? So for us to, so we have to just calm down now. That's it. Because Rasulullah ﷺ confirmed that we Muslims are not going to commit shirk, except some certain tribes that Rasulullah ﷺ did name them. One of them is Dosis. Dosaries in present time, the name is Dosari in Saudi Arabia. Okay, some women of that tribe worshipping the idols, as well as some specific groups of people. But as whole nation going and worshipping the graves, we Alhamdulillah Muslims are protected from that. Okay, so that is one thing. The second thing, in terms of going and visiting the graves, for example, mashallah, Salafi brothers, mainly they say it is permissible only for reminder and nothing beside that. Okay? But please do not forget that Rasulullah ﷺ used to go to visit the graves of Baqiyah as well as Shuhada of Uhud. So if he would needed a reminder, so Baqiyah is just next to you. Why are you going to Uhud? So there is something more than reminder. It is your relatives. And on top of that, Uthman bin Mad'un radiallahu anhu, when he passed away, Rasulullah ﷺ grasped in a shield, stone, a rock. They asked, Ya Rasulullah, why did you do it? So Rasulullah ﷺ said, لَأَتَعَلَّمَ قَبْرَ أَخِي. So I will recognize the grave of my brothers. So if Rasulullah ﷺ, if permissibility of visiting the grave would be only to take reminder that you are going to die, so then don't you get reminder besides your brother? Why do you need to go to so many graves? So it is not only reminder, but there is some more reasons, you know. Okay, in different hadith, Rasulullah ﷺ says, if any Muslim will go to pass the grave of the person that he used to recognize, one of your friends, and if you will say Assalamu alaikum, so that person in the grave will recognize you and he will reply back to you. So, like visiting grave is not only because you are reminding yourself that, okay, one day I will die. It's not that, but there is some more reason for that also. Okay, or for example, what do you think? Hadith is in Mustadrak. Rasulullah ﷺ says that indeed Isa will come down to be a just judge. And indeed he will come to Mecca as for Umrah or Hajj, as well as he will come to visit my grave, and he will say Assalamu alaikum ya Nabiullah, and I will respond to him. So if Isa ﷺ needs a reminder, why does he need to come always from Jerusalem, from Palestine, to the grave of Rasulullah ﷺ? Don't we have many graves even in Palestine? So it's like a misconception. Okay, so brothers, they should just drink a cup of water. I mean, because it's too much like aggression, you know, too much like heat. Let's calm down, okay? Muslims never worshipped any grave. I can take oath if you want to. Yes, please.
No, what's the ruling for women to visit?
In Hanafi, we say it's permissible, but it's recommended, mustahab, for women to go to the graveyard. There is two weak opinions in Hanafi. Please just ignore them. One, they say it's not permissible when they are in monthly cycle. We say weak opinion. Second opinion is not permissible to go often. We say weak opinion. So within one day you can go twice, 3 times as you wish. Okay? So it is, but it's mustahab, it's recommended. Okay? So that is, and in terms of destroying the graves, we say Rasulullah ﷺ obviously has shown respect to the grave. Am I right saying it's better for some of you to sit on the fire than to sit on top of a grave? So Rasulullah ﷺ, being prophet, he did show respect to the grave, saying, do not sit on it, do not pray on it, do not stand on it, and do not walk on it. Again, do not sleep on it. So all of them are prohibited. Why? Because respect of the person who is in the grave is still there, even after his death. Okay? So we shouldn't humiliate. We should not humiliate the grave because of our some certain understandings of a people. Okay? So that is one thing, as well as it used to be a practice in the in the time of a people of Jahiliyyah, worshipping their ancestors. Okay, but Muslims, alhamdulillah, we are free. Even those who go to visit the graves of, for example, awliya, okay, every day, okay, if you stop them and ask them, do you think that he can stop evil that God is sending? So that person will say it's impossible. Okay, so no one believes that the dead people are gods. We, in the first place, said, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasul. That is our belief. So there is only one God. Okay, so we have to just a bit calm down, and life is really good, beautiful, green. Okay, so that's very important. Okay, so also maybe a couple of details that we missed in here. The first thing, when you will be burying the person, so it is recommended to give away the body from the side of a qibla. For example, let's suppose that this is qibla and grave is there. So you bring it from the side of a qibla, so he can just take it from the side of qibla, from this side, and then he will put it back to the qibla side, into the lahad. Okay? So that is one thing, and the person who is placing the body in the graveyard, into the grave, so he will say, Bismillahi wa ala millati Rasulillahi. Okay, so that is the thing. As well as there is another advice from our mashayikh, when you will be throwing the dust, so the first, it's like adab of burying. We say, منها خلقناكم وفيها نعيدكم ومنها نخرجكم تارة أخرى. So that is three, you can say, fist of dust. Okay, so you pick up one, okay, saying منها خلقناكم. Second one, وفيها نعيدكم ومنها نخرجكم تارة أخرى. So that is, and after that we just finish the procedure. Okay, so that is a very important thing. There is a couple of issues about the... Yes, please.
How about reading Quran in graveyard?
Sorry?
How about reading Quran in graveyard?
In graveyard, Abu Hanifa said it is makruh, but mu'tamad position of Hanafi Madhab, we say it's permissible. Okay, but reading Quran, for example, from away, from far of the graveyard, there is no any disagreement that it is permissible.
Right.
As well as we say most likely its reward will reach, inshallah, for madhahib. All of us say, but only the disagreement happened if you are inside of the graveyard to read Quran, because Abu Hanifa says it may hurt the dead people. Okay, but Imam Shafi and Imam Ahmad said it is recommended to read Fatiha and Mu'awwidhatayn and Qul Huwallahu Ahad. So Imam Shafi by himself, there was small even debate between Shafi and Imam Ahmad also, because both of them went to visit the grave. Okay, and then someone stopped Imam Ahmad saying, is it okay for me to read Quran in here? Okay, so then Imam Ahmad said no. And when they came out, Shafi asked Ahmad, said, what did he say and what did you reply? So he said, so and so on happened. So then Imam Shafi said, don't you know the hadith which is an fulan, an Rasulillah, that anyone who goes to the grave reading Fatiha, Qul Huwallahu Ahad and Mu'awwidhatayn, so he will get so and so on reward. Okay? So then Imam Ahmad said, I didn't know about that one, and then he went back to that person who asked him, okay, saying you can read so and so on ayat, surahs. Okay, so that is actually the official position of Shafi and Imam Ahmad. But Abu Hanifa disagreed. Okay, but the Mu'tamad Hanafi position we see is permissible. Yes, I did that. Alaykum salam.
Say, is there any asl for reading the adhan?
Sorry?
Is there any asl for reading the adhan on the grave?
In adhan, I say most likely it's not permissible, but the issue is coming from that weak hadith, which I mentioned, which is accepted by four madhahib. And even Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyya in his book called Zadul Ma'ad did mention this hadith, saying even though if the chain of the hadith is weak, but four of the madhahib accepted, so it is recommended. Okay, so we do not do azan, but what do we do? After the burial, we say, or for example, Ahmad bin Fatima. Don't forget that you spent your life saying, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. That is it. Okay, that's it. And after that, Rasulullah says, when Munkar and Nakir will come, they will say to each other, what do you want to ask from this person who has been given his answer already? And they will leave the grave without questioning. So hadith is weak, but accepted by all of the four madhahib. So maybe reading azan is maybe from this hadith. So we say let's do the hadith, it's better. Because Rasulullah actually gave us better option. Yeah.
Is there a way of saying talqeen, like, Ya Abdullah, qul raditu billahi rabban wa bil islami dinan?
No, so the hadith is actually about this talqeen. But then, as it's mentioned in hadith, so we mention the name of the dead person and his mother's name. His mother's name, and after that we say, don't forget that you used to say, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Okay. Yes.
When reading Janazah namaz, some people they raise their arm and Allah Akbar is read.
Yeah.
You're supposed to or not?
Yeah, it's a weak narration in Hanafi madhab. We say it's better to not to. So we raise the hand only once.
Just the once,
Yeah, there's another narration in Hanafi madhab in which we say in each single takbir, but that's weak narration from Abu Hanifa. Mu'tamad only once, and after that you just hold your hand. Okay, then sana, then salawat, any type of salawat, but the best one is salawat Ibrahimiyya, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. And after that, you do the dua, any dua that you want. And then takbir and salam. Yes,
You know when they do salam, I've seen sometimes people, they take one hand down and
yeah.
salam and then...
It's error actually, it's mistake, yeah.
Right.
Because we say like a whole body, when you are praying namaz, so you leave namaz or you are in namaz. So it's not possible that half of you leaves namaz, you just leave. And after second salam, second half will leave the body, namaz. So after second one, whole body leaves namaz. So then you release them, yeah. Yeah, no, but it's just, it's a good, cool thing, you know. You see the people doing, so you enjoy.
My question is, some people argue over when the Janaza prayer should be read. Some say that it's because it's Fard Kifaya.
Yeah.
It should be read straight after the Fard of the prayer, for example, Dhuhr.
Yeah.
But however, we see that some people delay it up until after praying the Sunnah and then thereafter. So what's the proper procedure?
So we say that the best way is just to follow the habit of the masjid in which we are praying the Janaza. Okay, so then in terms of the best way of, even in Hanafi madhab, the best way of praying Sunnah of Fara'id, for example 2 rakat of Sunnah of Dhuhr, to pray in your house. But in our time, everyone prays in the masjid, which is very beautiful practice. So that's why maybe we may just leave them completing the sunnahs. Okay? Yeah, so that is, so we just follow the culture of the people. Thank you, Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you. So that is about this. And there was some, another issue was very important I wanted to mention. Yeah, any questions there? Yes, I did that.
For example, you read Janaza here in the UK, maybe your brother also passed away, and then you take the body to Pakistan. Are you able to read the Janaza again?
So we say, if you want to repeat the Janaza, so then make sure that relatives are not praying. The close relatives are not praying. For example, someone's father passed away, and then son wants to pray Janaza in Pakistan also. So he has to make sure that he is not praying. Everyone else, people will pray, and then he will take the body to Pakistan, for example, and then he will pray there. Because after that family member praying namaz, Janaza namaz, no one else has a right to pray Janaza again. Yeah. Yeah, and also there are a few very important issues. First issue is in Shafi'i and Hanbali madhab, they may pray the ghaib Janaza. It's perfectly fine in their madhab. So for example, someone died, for example, Shaykh Ramadan al-Boti died in Syria, and some of the brothers prayed Janaza here. We say that's perfectly fine in Shafi'i and Hanbali, but we Hanafis do not do it. for us, that body should be in front of us so we can pray janazah. Okay, that is important. But then sometimes we may delay the janazah with intention of getting more bigger number. Because what is the meaning of all of the people who are praying? It is the people who are doing shafa'ah to the dead person. Okay, and interference, shafa'ah means, Ya Allah, we actually witnessed that this person was good and Muslim practicing Islam, so please forgive him. That is the meaning. Okay, but now we have two problems. One is delaying is makruh, and the second is if I do not delay, I will have only 5-10 people. So what is the most important? So we say not delaying is more important. Okay, so we pray as soon as possible. Okay, so that is the important issues. Yes, Eddie?
The body of the shuhada, they say so shaheed, then you don't wash the body.
Of course, yeah. We just pray janazah, but shuhada is only about if person is killed. But what about, there are many other types of shuhada. Someone dies from cancer. In Islam, he is shaheed. Okay, cancer in the tummy, belly. Okay, or someone, for example, dies inside of his house. For example, wall falling on him. So in Islam, he is also shaheed. Okay, or person dies from that type of very serious, painful illnesses. So all of them are shuhada, but we give ghusl. Okay, so not giving ghusl type of shuhada is the people who are killed in the battle.
With regards to people who have committed suicide, they say you shouldn't perform janazah for them.
Yeah, mashallah, that's the question said, yeah.
What are the conditions that actually, because I know some people, they're mentally not stable, does that classify as suicide or not? I don't know that.
So there are some category of people on whom we do not pray janazah. The first one is rebellion. We do not pray janazah on them. What's the meaning of rebellion? So Muslim official government, it doesn't have to be Khalifa, it could be king, it could be queen, it could be president, it could be prime minister, so government. And then some group of people with arms, they go against the government killing. Okay? So if they will be killed, we do not pray janazah on them. And the second category of people on whom we do not pray janazah, it is the highway robbers. Okay, so if they will get killed while they are robbing, we do not pray janazah on them. And third person, it is an armed person walking in the streets, okay, especially in the nights, and demanding money from the people with the gun. If he gets killed, we do not pray janazah on him. Okay, in Muslim country, non-Muslim country, doesn't matter. Okay, so that is three category of people. But what about two category? One is the person who committed suicide. We pray janazah, but only local imam or the authority shouldn't pray janazah. For example, authority in this area is Mufti Sahib, next door, for example. Everyone will pray, but he will not pray. As like trying to humiliate him, saying, all people, if you do the same, I'm not going to pray. Because normally, the local authorities, we show a lot of respect to them. We want them to pray our janazah, am I right? So it is like trying to stop the people from suicide. And the second category of people, anyone who dies and he has debt, which is not paid. So imam, again, local authority should not pray, but the rest of the Muslims, they should pray. Unless during the janazah, one of the relatives of the dead person says, I am taking the responsibility of paying back the debt. Now even the local authority can pray janazah. Also, I missed the third category of people on whom we do not pray the janazah. It is a person who kills his parents. We do not pray that type of people of like janazah of that type of people. Okay, so these are the categories. And also, very important notice. Sometimes people die and they have a lot of missed namaz and missed siyam. Okay, so when you will feel, so you know, it's very recommended for each of us to have some will all the time. For example, I have 1 month of Ramadan that didn't fast. Okay, as well as 1 month of namaz, Fajr. I used to miss a lot of Fajr. How many times? So just writing it down. Okay. And then just leaving it with you. And when you make them up, for example, half of that, you write another will. Okay, writing, please, when I will die, without fulfilling them, please, if you can just take care of them. Okay, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu says, no one prays on behalf of anyone and no one fasts on behalf of anyone. But you give a fidya of food for one poor person. Okay, so for each namaz, as well as for each day of missed siyam. Okay, so that's very important because, as you know, the first ever question in Yawm al-Qiyamah will be about namaz. Am I right? Okay, so if you pass the question of namaz perfectly, the rest is very smooth and very easy. But if you will fail the first question of namaz, so the rest is going to be even more difficult. So make sure that you write a will. Yes, Adida.
Sheikh, post-mortems, are we allowed to have them done?
What's that?
It's when when a person dies and they don't know the cause of death, they'll investigate it.
It's actually mufla. Is not permissible, as well as that person will find its pain, you know that. Yeah, but then legal procedures, they do not give you that certificate, isn't it? So, I do not answer this question, it's very difficult.
But if you have a choice in the matter, you should leave it.
Yeah, of course. If you have a choice, 100%. Because that person finds its pain. Even there is hadith in which Rasulullah says, do not crush the bone of people who are dead in the graveyard. Do not, because they used to just in order to put the new body into the grave, so they used to crush the bones and remove it. Okay, so if you want to place another body, so then just push it away, but do not crush it. Rasulullah said, do not crush it because they find its pain. Yeah.
Sorry, just back to the issue on salah. You know, if your salah is deficient, and maybe you go to Hajj or something, some people think like your sins are forgiven, and can you sort of, if you're praying, like continue from there onwards, or is it 100% you must?
No, everything, because all of them is something that will give hope. Okay, it could be or it may not be. So you missed, for example, 1 month of a namaz, okay, and after that you went to the Hajj. Rasulullah says it will purify you from everything except dates. Okay, so then did you get your things, your 1 month namaz cleared or not? So that is doubtful thing. Okay, but it's not because of we are doubting on the hadith of Rasulullah, but because we are doubting on the acceptance of our Hajj. Okay, so do everything on the way in which when you will go in Yawm al-Qiyamah, so you will be perfectly ready from your side. And small bits and bites, Allah will just take care of them. But it's not that doing everything, saying, in Yawm al-Qiyamah, inshallah, you know, and then you will go with empty hands, lots of mountains, like of sins, and then you hope Allah to forgive you. So do not be like that. Yes, I did that.
I don't know if you've already mentioned. In a situation where the lady passes away and there's no women to give a ghusl, what would be the situation?
We give tayammum, but with a fabric gloves. So just placing the hand on the dust or on the rock, and then wiping over the face, and then again one more, wiping over the arms, and then she will be buried like that.
Does it matter if it's mahram or not?
If it would be mahram, so then he can do it with no gloves on. But if there is no mahram, so then we can still do it, but with gloves on. Yeah, but mahram cannot give ghusl to the lady, to his lady mahram, relative. Because even though, if he can just look at, for example, hands, arms, shoulders, but the rest of the body is still awra, so he cannot give ghusl, no. But only the difference between mahram and average person will be that mahram will give tayammum with no gloves, but non-mahram will give a tayammum with gloves on, that's it. Yes, Elina. Alaikum salam.
The gloves, do they have to be thick so that?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So it should be thick fabric. And normally they do it from thick towel type fabric. Yeah, for that people. Yeah, from the ladies side.
Are we allowed to give donors?
Sorry?
Like body organs.
Sorry?
Body organs, are we allowed to give donors?
It's a very common question, but as we said, because you know the dead body will find its pain, you know. So, for example, when you are under the drugs, you do not find the pain, am I right? But what about if, for example, your liver would be removed, but with no drugs? Very huge pain. So that body will be second category. You will find the pain, but with no drugs. No.
If a woman is deceased and she has maybe on her hands or has some decoration on her body or tattoo, how does that affect?
So we do not remove nothing. Obviously, tattoo is non-removable, isn't it? So we just leave her alone like that. We just give a ghusl and that's it. But piercing and rings and necklace and all of them things will be just removed, obviously. You know, some of the people now they may do that piercing, but piercing on the tongue. So all of them will be taken off.
And dentures as well. If someone was wearing false dentures or...
What is that?
False teeth.
No, is it removable easily? Yeah, we take it off. But sometimes they put on a golden teeth, so it is like like a hat on top of the teeth.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to remove it, you know. So we just leave it as it is.
So the crown should be leave. Yeah.
Sorry?
You should leave the crowns in.
Yeah. So
the
it's
covers they go with the body.
yeah. So it's difficult to remove, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just leave it as it is. Yes.
Sorry, just going back to that question when you mentioned about if someone has debts.
Yeah.
If the family are not able to pay the debts, can the debt not be written off as charity or sadaqah?
If any charity will do it, so that's perfect, or otherwise, it's very difficult. If you remember Rasulullah saying one of the Sahaba passed away, okay, and who was the Sahabi's name? I don't remember actually. So, and after burial, after some certain period, they paid back the debt. Rasulullah said, the skin of your brother cooled down just now. So debt is very dangerous thing, you know. And even in Hanafi madhab we say, if you have a date, big date, so then it's not permissible for you to eat a meat, you know. For example, I borrowed from you 1,000 pounds, okay, and that means until I pay back my debt, so then I do not have right to travel, to buy expensive things. So they mention meat because in the past centuries, meat would be very expensive. Okay, so that is very dangerous thing. But unfortunately, in our time, we borrow money and we never think of paying it back, even if we have money. Or even, for example, we are living luxurious life, but if we pay back the money, we will be living as normal people. So we say, no, it's darura, you know? It's not darura, because it's not important, it's not that important to live in luxurious life. But pay back the money, because maybe the person who gave you money, maybe he needs it right now, you know? So try to pay it back.
And what about mortgage?
Sorry?
What about mortgage?
So it's debt, isn't it? It's debt, yeah. So it's mortgage. It's very difficult, you know. So definitely that's a debt. So unless the person's mortgage will not be paid off, a person will get that hit, okay, in the grave. So the debt is really horrible thing. That is even, you know, Shaheed, Rasulullah says, Allah will forgive the first drop of the blood. By that, Allah will forgive all of the sins of Shaheed except debt. So that is the debt is very huge sin. Yeah.
Shaykh, like student loan, they say if you pass away, I think it's in the contract that, you know, we'll wipe your debt. That's okay, innit?
That's it, yeah.
But in your life, because obviously we've taken that on,
yeah,
we should still try to pay it back. You can't think, oh, I'm gonna die, it's gonna be wiped anyway. that's what I used to think. I used to think, yeah, I'm gonna die. It's gonna be wiped anyway, so who cares? But we should make an active effort to pay it back, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we have to try our best. Yes, we have to try. You know that is one of the most scary things. Even I have one of my teachers in Syria. He had very big family, and he had to borrow money because he used to pay a lot of rent because he had maybe 10 or 12 kids. Only one son and the rest is just daughters, you know. Okay, and he's very like a dervish person, poor person. And I remember him for about 6-7 years never eating any hot food except if some of the neighbors would bring. Okay, because he borrowed money to buy a house. Because big family, to maintain that type of big family, maybe within 2 years you pay the rent which would be sufficient to buy a house. So he borrowed money because of that. And for a very long time he never has eaten a hot food. Except what the neighbors would bring maybe. Or otherwise they would just eat bread and just that type of just normal, you know, foods. Okay? And meat, just forget about meat. Yeah, so he's still, I hope that he's in Syria. He's in Damascus, used to live in Damascus. Yeah. Okay, any other question before we'll go to the break? Then we can just do our practical thing. One thing I wanted to ask you, is there any of you are willing to learn it to apply, inshallah? Rasulullah says, there is hadith, the meaning of this hadith is spread in many hadith. If Allah wants something good to someone, Allah makes the people to need Him. Okay, so this is the most needy thing. Okay, means anyone that Allah loves amongst you, so Allah will make you guys, or even the sisters here, to do this type of practical thing. Because people are dying and we are having shortage of people who can apply the ghusl, you know. So it is really very high rewardable thing.
Just one question. Do you know when you mentioned that the body, once a person passed away, then within 5 hours, I think you said, you can't move it. Now, is that with the 4 madhabs or is that just with the Hanafi madhab?
No, in Hanafi madhab only. And even within Hanafi madhab, there is another opinion that says only 2 minor, which is in Nur
They say like, you know, so we're like...
The maximum is 5 and that's reliable, inshallah. Yeah.
You know, like you were saying, like with the bakhur on the coffin that you thingy. I put like, you know, the scented sticks are gonna be good, on the grave, in the graveyard and that. Yeah. Don't know, someone come up to me and said, yeah, it's like you're burning this grave or so, I don't know, innit? Is that, because scent is approved, it's got jariya and nice smell and stuff like that. Is it permissible? Is it okay?
Like in terms of maybe that person wanted to say, because putting agarbatti on the grave, is it Hindusi practice? Is that what I know as far as I know? Am I right? So maybe he thought because of that, or otherwise initially there is nothing wrong with it.
Just for good smell and
yeah. But if you are living in the area in which it's very well recognized as to be Hindusi, do not do it. Okay. Or otherwise there is nothing wrong with it. Okay. There is nothing wrong with it. And even there are some statements actually about what you are saying, in terms of like backing up your statement. But when you're living in the locality in which some other religions practice it as part of their, you shouldn't do it. You should just avoid that. Yes?
You told us that, you know, when somebody passed away, you know, we have to tie the jaws.
Yeah.
At what stage do we have to remove that? You know, if we have ghusl.
Yeah.
At that time, still the jaws have to be tied.
Yeah. No, because you have to just remove it when you're washing the head. After that, straight away, just put it back. Yeah. So the mouth shouldn't be open, you know. Yeah. So
you leave it on all the way through.
Yeah. You just leave it like that. Yeah.
Sorry, Shaykh. Bit of a gory one, but is the rules the same for stillborns and children?
Mashallah, it's a really good question. Look, in terms of miscarriage, we have strange position. Try to understand this one. Any miscarriage which takes place before 4 months, we do not classify it as a human being, because ruh will be blown into the body after 4 months. Okay? So, because of that, any miscarriage happens before 4 months, we just wash the body and put it into the coffin and then just bury it. No janaza, no naming, no adhan, no iqamah, no nothing. Okay? But any miscarriage which happens after 4 months, we look at the baby. Straight after miscarriage, so after coming out, if we see a sign of life, okay, so then only we classify it as a human being. What is the sign of a life? So we say it's either crying, laughing, speaking, like,
Expression.
yeah. So not speaking, saying, how are you? I'm here. So like producing like some noise, some voice, or moving the hand properly. But what about just slightly moving? We say that's not a sign, because normally in the womb of the mother, baby will be squeezed. Am I right? So after coming out, baby will just move somehow. So that is not sign of a life. But sign of life should be either crying, laughing, okay, or moving the hand properly, fingers properly, head properly, okay? So only then, or breathing, okay? So that is the sign of life. So if we find that sign, so then we give ghusl and we name the baby, okay? So we apply all of the sunnah procedures. On right ear adhan, on left ear iqama, naming, giving ghusl, proper janaza and proper burial. But even after 4 months, after miscarriage, if there will not be any sign of a life, so then we just wash the body and just bury in the respectable place. Okay, so that is the important thing. Also, the scan cannot prove the life of the baby. Okay, so let's suppose that miscarriage happened at the age of 8 months of a pregnancy. Okay, and after that, so before that they used to scan, so they used to see the movement and heart beating, etc. Okay, but when baby came out after miscarriage, there was no any sign of a life. So then, isn't it that we take the proof of the scan? So we say no. So the sign of a life should be straight after the miscarriage. Thank you very much. There are two good things of being sheikh. One, because everyone looks at you, and you are the most handsome. I am the most handsome. And the second thing, you get a cup of tea for free. It's just, it's really economical for your house, You save some bags, tea bags in your house, Okay, so that is the most important thing. But then we are not claiming, if after miscarriage, if there will not be sign of life, we are not claiming that in Yawm al-Qiyamah, this baby will not be our baby. Allah knows what's going to be in Yawm al-Qiyamah, but we only have a right to judge on what we see only. Okay, and when baby came out, we saw that there was no life, that's it. But what about inside of the womb? We didn't see. Okay, we didn't have. But what about the scan? We say scan is not proof. Because any pregnancy that happens, so that pregnancy which is growing, that is part of the mother, and mother is alive. So there will be, whatever is growing inside will have a life. Why? Because it is from the mother. Mother is a live creature, but when it will get separated, is it separate creature, a live creature or not? So we witness it after the miscarriage, not before. Okay? But maybe it was a live baby, and in Yawm al-Qiyamah, baby will come as a live person. So we say, of course, in Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah will judge whatever He wants to. But in this dunya, we judge only what we witness. Okay, so that's the most important thing. Anything else?
Sure. What would you do in terms of giving ghusl to a body which say has been in an accident or something that
Excellent, mashallah, thank you very much.
Severed, or what do you do in that position?
So we have to, first of all, if it is biggest part of the body, okay, with the head, Okay, so only then we can give a ghusl and pray janazah. But if it is only one arm, for example, okay, or for example foot or leg, or just part of a chest with the hand, so we do not do janazah, we do not do nothing. But only we just put it into the fabric and we bury it in some respectable place. Okay, and also I remember there was some incident, car incident also with one of my teachers. They had only just small flesh from his face actually. Car incident was really bad. Okay, and they did pray janazah on that flesh. Okay, but that is incorrect, that's not permissible. Because for us to pray janazah, so the person should be like a head, okay, with majority part of his body. But what about it just chopped off? So then we try our best. If it's possible to be given ghusl, that's it. Or otherwise, we just leave the body as it is. And most of the time, this will happen to the shaheed people. Okay, and shaheed person does not need to be given ghusl. Okay, so that is a very important thing. Thank you, Sadi. Very good question. Yes, Sadi, anything else?
Last question.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Something just came to my mind. What if somebody who you should pray janazah on, but for some reason nobody prays janazah on them?
Yeah,
I don't know if this is a good example. For example, what happened to Imam Hussein, for example?
Okay.
Did anybody pray his janazah?
Ali Sajjad, radiallahu anhu, no, I think no. No, there was no janazah that day actually. No, there was no janazah because straight after the murderer, there had been head was chopped off, so half of body was here, head was taken to Yazid. Again, straight away, even the Ali Sajjad was taken to. No, there was no janazah. So, if there was no janazah after the burial, we can pray janazah on top of the grave only within the period in which body will not get decomposed. Okay, and it depends on the soil. If soil is very humid, so then it will be very short time. Because the main thing which causes decomposition is humidity, water. Okay, but if it is very dry ground, for example, Saudi, Qatar, that type of very Africa, very dry, Ghana, for example. Okay, Ghana is not dry; it's very soft, humid. So if it's very dry ground, okay, so then you can pray up to maybe 1 or 2 days. But if it is very humid, as it is in the UK, maybe maximum 3-4 hours, because straight after that, body will start decomposing. Okay, so that flesh, everything, will just falling off, etc. Yeah, so on top of the grave, and after that, when body is decomposed, that's it. It's just gone. You cannot pray janazah.
Sheikh, I've heard the body of the shuhada, it doesn't decompose, it doesn't die.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
So does that mean we can pray even a year after?
Of course, yeah. So because so many people have been killed. We thought that they're shuhada, but when their body was taken out, so it was just decomposed, Shuhada is not the people that we think. Shuhada is whatever Allah knows. It's shuhada. Yeah.
So that means we cannot pray 6 months after?
With the shuhada, Rasulullah used to pray with the shuhada, but we do not pray, no. Especially with Imam Hussein, we do not pray because his body was chopped off. So head is somewhere else and the rest of the body is somewhere else. No, we're questioning now. Yeah. If you have to, I will stop. Or otherwise, I'm fine saying.
Any questions relevant to what the Sheikh's gone through?
No, that's fine saying. Look. I mean, we have enough time, don't we?
The question I just wanted to ask was, what if the body is being decomposed?
Yeah.
Say someone's passed away, like someone elderly, and they've been discovered after a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I'm aware of this happening, and the janazah was read, but was that permissible to have read the janazah? The body had been decomposed?
No, we do not pray janazah on decomposed body, no.